So you're a good golfer, but you're struggling to put together some scores. Well, this could be the video for you. Now, Jed, what's the first point of call when it comes to this?
So, commonly known really as your golf IQ. It's just strategic mental mistakes, poor choices, trying to hit a shot but you shouldn't really be trying to hit, and all those little things just add up to extra shots. And when you add up to extra shots, you look at the end of the day and the score, and it's just like, maybe, I don't know, some people can be anything between 6 and 12 shots difference.
So it's all about strategy, really, golf course strategy.
Definitely.
And we're here on a tee box, and you're going to talk to us about the importance of teeing up the golf ball the right way, is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, so we're here on the 17th of Sandy Way, but a lot of people don't pay attention to the shape of shot that they hit. And what I mean by that is, all the time, people will just come right into the middle of the tee box and they'll tee it up. And then they'll take their setup, aim in right down the middle of the fairway, yet they slice the ball 40, 50 yards. Well, if we look at what's 40, 50 yards to our right, it's just a dead zone. You just cannot hit the golf ball there if you want to score. So what you have to do is you have to think about the shape of shot you hit, and then look at the position that you need to tee the ball up. So if we keep that shape of shot, that 40, 50 yard slice, well, if I was then to say, right, if I teed the golf ball up over here, then that's going to open up the target for me. And what I mean by that would be, if you were to imagine a funnel from where your golf ball is and the target line, if I move that to the left hand side, I've now got a massive space to hit the golf ball into, rather than teeing the golf ball up in the middle and only having less maybe than half of that space. So I could hit me 40, 50 yard slice, and I can just set up at the trees just on the left side of the fairway, and now I have all of that open space for the golf ball to land in.
And I guess that works vice versa if you were to tee
vice
up
versa from here. Yeah, you know, if you're hitting the ball with a hook or you're hitting it with a draw, then, you know, down this side, out towards where the Sandy Way tree is there, and you've got all that space on the left hand side. It's playing the shape of shot that you have is the important bit. It's making sure that you give yourself the biggest amount of space to hit the golf ball in an area which is going to enable you to hit the next shot where you need to.
Absolutely. So there we go. Don't just walk onto a tee box and plonk your tee and your ball into the middle. Find the space that suits your game for that day, and hopefully you can find the fairway. So Jed, you found yourself in a fairway bunker here. Explain to us what we're going to do from this position. You've got two balls, two very different positions, two very different outcomes possibly. Yeah,
the biggest thing is assessing your lie more than anything else. It's not so much about how far do I have to cover in terms of being able to hit the green or get up around the green. It's about whether I can advance the ball out from the lie that I've got. So if we take this front one here, well, there's not a lot of room between the golf ball and this lip. Now, if I was to say hit 7-iron, which I've got here, well, depending on strike, that might not get up quick enough. So there's no point in me hitting the lip, but burying it in the front, catching the lip, and it just sort of bobbling out forward. I might as well get a pitching wedge and advance it 100 yards, and that's the key to it. Whereas when you've got a little bit more room like you might have here, well, I've got a bigger distance now to that lip, so a 7-iron is plenty loft to be able to get out and cover more of the ground. So the first thing you need to do is assess your lie, and then choose your golf club, rather than just thinking, oh, it's 150 yards, I need my 7-iron, and off I go. After that, the approach is just like you would be in the fairway, apart from a few little tweaks that I'd like to see in setup. Yeah, it's just like we'd normally be in the bunkers. I'm going to approach it with ball position exactly the same as I would do for a normal shot. You can see, I mean, these bunkers are great because they're quite firm. If the sand is really soft, a little but not a lot of wriggle of the feet in, just to secure yourself on the softer footing that sand is. And then to just encourage a hair more of a steeper angle of attack, we just want to feel a little bit more weight into this lead side. So I would be here around about 70% pushing down into my left foot. I'm not leaning loads this way. I'm just pushing down through the floor a little bit more, and then I'm just going to go a fraction. As you can see, it's not a lot down the grip there. I haven't gone all the way down. I'd normally be here. I've just gone down, I don't know, maybe 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch. And then I'm just thinking about making the normal swing that I normally would do, making sure that I keep the pressure of the body moving forward, so I'm finishing tall and forward on that left hand side. So hitting this shot should look a little bit like this. So I've advanced it down there, probably got maybe around 50 yards left, somewhere around there, give or take, and that's a much better place to be than being in there, playing the shot in the same way with a 7-iron from there, and you've got your chance then of hitting the green.
Right, we found ourselves in a pretty tricky situation here, Ged, off the tee, and
it's not bad.
It's not looking too bad. I think you and I are both looking at this gap. We've had a discussion. That is probably the play, but let's talk sensible here. How can we save a shot here and not cost us any penalties?
Probably the way I look at it is, I mean, everybody looks down there and they look at that and think, oh, I can get it through there. They've all forgot that they've just missed the 50-yard fairway. Yes. Question number one. So I can't hit the 50-yard fairway, but I can get through that sort of, what's that? We've probably got about, what, 6-7 feet maybe to get through, something like that if we're lucky. So a couple of things that we need to do is, one, we need to be sensible. We don't, we want to take 6 and 7 out of play. That's the first thing we want to do. So we assess the lie, we choose the right option, which is going to help us make the next shot easier. Ultimately, that's it. So from here, I mean, we've got a nice space just to nudge it back nice and simply out onto the fairway. When you nudge it out onto the fairway from this position in there, it's probably less than, I don't know, 140 yards, maybe 130 yards in for your next shot anyway. Take all the danger out of play, take the 6 and the 7 out of play, and just nudge it back into the fairway. Just making sure that you choose the right club for it. I mean, I've got 8-iron in my hands here. It's sitting down a little bit, but it's not a bad lie. I haven't got any real overhanging branches or anything that I need to avoid. So it would literally just be playing a little bumped shot, feet together, a little bit of pressure forward, and we're just going to nudge it back into play. And we just take our medicine, move on, and then hopefully, well, I've got a chance of getting up and down, but if I make 5, then I make 5 and not 6 or 7.
So Ged, we're back on the tee box here, and I just happened to catch your first tee shot there, and you sailed it right into the trees. I'm not sure we'll be able to find it.
It wasn't great, was it?
It wasn't a good first shot. No. But now, I've noticed you've not changed your golf club. A lot of people will be thinking, provisional, I'm going to get my hybrid or an iron out so I can hit the fairway, make sure I'm in play. But not you.
No, it's an option, but it's one that I would sort of use as a last resort. I think everybody needs to have what I would call a second serve with the driver. So if we put that into golf terms, well, the second serve with the driver is, I need a go-to shot that I can hit, which is going to hit the fairway. Now, it might not always hit the fairway, but it's going to be in play. It's not going to be offline by loads. Now, for the majority of people, I would say a second serve would be tee it down, give yourself the biggest amount of club face to hit, and look at trying to see the ball move generally a little bit from left to right. So if you've got a tight fairway where you might have trouble on the left, out of bounds on the right, I know a few holes where there's out of bounds both sides, you need a second serve, because so many cards get absolutely destroyed by hitting 1, 2, 3 out of bounds. So my advice for that would be, we're thinking about that little bit of a faded shot. We want to go a little bit more onto the right hand side, for me as a right-handed golfer, of the tee box, to open up the funnel that little bit more, so I can aim it a little bit more down the left hand side and just get it moving nice and smoothly into play.
Let's have a look, Ged. Let's see it. Second ball
up there, and if we think, well, that would be teeing it up normally, where you can probably see around about half of the golf ball sitting above the club head there. Right, I'm going to tee this down.
So step 1 would be to tee it down. That's step 1.
So from that point of view there now, maybe this is a little tiny bit at the top of the head, but over the top of the head, but not a lot. And from that point of view there, it's all about getting it a nice controlled swing It's not your flat out speed, but it's not super slow. I don't want you to take loads of speed out of it. Just want you to think more about control tempo and just letting it go and play.
Let's have a look, Jed.
So I'm going to be sort of aiming a little bit more down towards the gap in the trees on the left hand side. So we've got the big tree on the left and then the little line of trees in towards that gap there. So my ball position isn't going to change. It's going to be just a fraction inside of my left heel. And then it's just going to be sort of nice and smooth, get it in play and move on for the next shot.
Excellent. Well, that's far better than the first tee shot that sailed right.
I think we might have to climb the fence to get the first one.
So there you go. If you're struggling off the tee, second serve, tee it low, nice and easy, and you'll find the fairway and hopefully save that par. Jed, this looks quite interesting here. To me, the untrained eye, you're putting to nothing. What are you trying to achieve from this drill right here?
Speed control. So there's two big key areas really where golfers can save shots on the putting green. Number one is being able to hole out from sort of 3 feet and inside. And number two is being able to control speed of the putt from distance. The biggest reason that they 3-putt is because they don't control the speed. It's not because they don't get the line, because the line is determined by what speed you're going to hit it. If I'm going to hit it really, really hard, it's not going to break much. If I'm going to hit it soft, it's going to break more if there's any break on it. So speed is the most important thing. But nobody practices it. Everybody just hits putts 2 holes. They might hit them to a hole over there in a distance and think they're practicing speed, but really you need to practice being able to control the speed at a specific length. So if you can get the ball to finish within, I don't know, 6-7 inches of each other, then you're going to be able to control your speed much better. So from here, this drill's great, just put into the fringe. So all I want to do is hit these 4 putts and I want to try and get them as close to the fringe as possible.
And I imagine this is something you would do for any course you turn up to before your round. It's a good idea to get the pace of that green.
Find out what the speed is. There's loads of golfers who go out and they'll come in afterwards and they'll be in the bar and they'll say, I couldn't get the speed of the greens all day. Well, if you've practiced this drill, you walk onto the first green, you'll know instantly if the speed of the putting green is the same as the speed of the greens outside on the golf course. And if it's not, it's only one hole that it takes to adjust.
Amazing. All right, so there you have it. Come out onto the putting green before your round. Give this little putt to the fringe drill a go so you can nail the speed of the greens so you can go out and shoot your lowest score yet. All right, Jed, this looks very interesting, mate. What have we got going on here?
So little practice drill really, call it round the world. It simply just covers holing out from all different angles. So you're not just hitting the same putt over and over. You're covering it from, you might have a bit of right to left, a bit of left to right, a bit up slope, down slope, rather than just picking a nice flat straight one and just getting good at rolling that one in, and you get on the golf course and you've got 2 feet with a little bit of right to left and panic station setting.
And how is this going to help us lower our scores out on the golf course?
Too many people don't like hitting short putts from these are 1 pace away from the hole. People tap them, don't quite give it enough speed. Some then give it too much speed and then they get caught in between and miss far too many than they should. They really should hole about 95% of them, give or take, across all sections. So it doesn't matter what your slope is, about 95% then you should hole. So then you're not going to 3-putt a lot if you can put it into this space. So as long as you've got good speed control and you get it into here, if you're practicing this bit, you're going to save shots.
All right, amazing. So I'm guessing it's called around the world for a reason. Your idea is to make yourself go all the way around without missing. So don't let me slow you down. Okay. Let's see you finish this off then.
Yeah, so it's just making sure you go through your routine that you would normally, as if you were on the golf course, put yourself into that situation, and then just set yourself in and just have a nice positive stroke.
Lovely. So a little bit of putting practice outside off the golf course can help lower your scores on the golf course. Some great advice there from Jed. Definitely some tips I will be implementing into my game. That's all from us here at Sandyway Golf Club in Cheshire. We look forward to seeing you next time.